America has been fighting an eternal war for decades now on education, looking for ways to create a fair and just educational system. With kids falling through the cracks and reaching high school or beyond, and yet still lacking the ability to read, many wondered why. Were teachers only teaching the students who would seem to excel and leaving behind the difficult children? I'm sure in some cases, but not at all. In attempts to fix this, the government implemented something called No Child Left Behind, which created a standardized test to be able to hold all public schools at a higher standard. One of the pros about the standardized test was that it held teachers and schools accountable for what they were being paid to do, and that is to help develop the minds of our youth. Now, this idea was a good idea, but like so many ideas, when executed poorly, it becomes a travesty. One of the biggest problems I feel that has come from standardized testing is the fact that lots of schools teach only to test. This means that teachers only teach to make sure their students pass their tests that are mandated by the government. This is understandable to a degree, because schools lose their funding and are in jeopardy of being closed down if the school continually does not meet the expectations of the government. But what are the costs to the students? We are shutting down other programs within the school just to make sure that we pass these tests. Our schools are stifling the creativity and the imagination of their students because they are not fostering these within our classrooms. We are losing brilliant minds and are gifted to the potential because we are not seeing their intellectual curiosity. Instead, we are seeing them as meeting test requirements and pushing them to the side. A good example of this is I was sitting in a parent-teacher conference for my daughter and looking at her schoolwork. I remember reading the story she wrote and thinking that she loves to write. As I read the story, I could see attempts of her using large words, misspelled, but the attempt was there. I approached the teacher and I asked, why wasn't my daughter corrected when she misspelled these words? Her reply was it was above the grade level. I responded, I understand that's above the grade level, but obviously she's attempting to use these words. I'm not expecting her to be dinged for the points for misspelling these words, but showing her the proper way to spell these words, if she wants to use them, benefits her. Again, I was simply told it was above her grade level. For obvious reasons, I left this parent-teacher conference frustrated. I'm sure many of other parents have similar stories to mine. Another problem of testing is the stress that it creates on the faculty of the school as well as the students. There is such a commotion about testing when it comes up that everyone is stressed. The teachers have been teaching these kids to test for weeks and are wondering if the kids are going to perform well. After all, their job depends on it. It has been continually stressed to these children the importance of these tests and what these tests mean for their school. When it comes to the weeks, not days, of testing to occur, they freeze because the pressure has finally got to them. Office staff is calling parents to remind them that their student has to be at school during these times. This is something that they don't normally do. But because of the testing, your children are needed there. The parents, in turn, are stressed because their children's absence can bring the school testing average down. Being sick is not an option. Now, looking at the idea of No Child Left Behind is great. Implementing it is where the problem lies. I can honestly say I have not seen the test in a long time, but believe that these were things that were being taught already in the classroom, just without the stress of being scrutinized for poor testing on a national level. We must look at the testing as not only the impacts it has today, but also the impacts it has on our future of education. When creating tests that only standardize our students, we place all educational systems systems in jeopardy of being just standard and not teaching to excel or inspire our youth to be creative and inventive and to think outside the box. We lose great teachers because of the standardized ways of teaching. No child left behind is to encompass all children. Because when we stifle our children that are above average, isn't that not in fact what we're doing? Leaving them behind?